See, this is the globe. Now, what can you see in this? What can you see in this globe?
Latitude,
Horizontal and
latitude,
vertical lines.
longitude.
You can see
Latitude and
few
the-
lines crisscrossing each other. You can see. Then what else you can see?
Then the continents.
Yes,
Equator.
see the continents.
Oceans, oceans.
How do you? Someone said oceans. How could you make out that it's ocean?
The model of the
The
year.
blue colored part on the globe.
Blue color is not visible.
Blue is not there. I mean,
Yes.
it's got green.
Equator, ma'am.
Okay, I can see an equator. So you are seeing the picture of a globe. Okay.
Yes.
And where do all live in? In which planet are we all living in? Yes.
Earth.
Earth.
Yeah.
We know that it is round. But initially it was believed it was flat. It was flat. Yes. We didn't know it was round. And how this view was changed? Who was the person who changed this view that the earth is not flat, it is round?
Magellan, ma'am. Is it Magellan?
Yes. Ferdinand Magellan was the first person. He sailed towards the west side for almost 5 years. Though he couldn't come back, his team came back to the same place. And then we knew that the earth is round. So this proved that the earth is round. But what if it is flat? What if the earth is flat? What will happen if it is flat?
This flat.
No, ma'am, now it is
It doesn't
round.
have day and night, ma'am.
Planet or plant, ma'am.
We'll just fall off. No, if it is
Earth
flat.
have in,
Now,
if
Yes, ma'am.
yeah,
is
if it
have-
is not, now it is round, we just start from a place and come back to the same place. If it is flat, we'll
It have-
surely follow. We won't come back to the same place. The same thing if you see the earth from the top view, from space, how it will look.
It will look
like
flat.
this only. It will
Yes,
look like this only. So that is why we have chosen this model of a globe, which is spherical in shape. Okay, it's like a ball. It's round like a ball, and this shape is called a sphere. Okay, that's the thing when you talk about globe. It's a small model of the earth, round in shape, and it has oceans and continents. You can view it. You can view, you can even turn it, rotate it. You can have a view of this globe. Now, oceans and continents. General definition, you all will know and you will tell the children. But before that, how it was. The millions of years ago, it was a single supercontinent called Pangaea. Okay, it was one.
What is the spelling for that, ma'am?
Huh?
What is
Spelling.
That
Pangaea.
G-A-E-A. Thank you, ma'am.
So it was all together. As time passed, this Pangaea split into pieces. Okay, then we started drifting away from one another, and the space between this, the water started filling up the gap. So that's how this oceans and continents developed. And general definition for a continent, you can say the huge land mass of earth covered with water on all sides are called continents. Yes, that's the simple definition you can say. And how many continents are there?
7.
7. And 5 oceans are there. Oceans are also large stretch of water bodies. They are called as oceans. Based on your book content, you can speak about each continent. Few readers, they just mention those 7 names and leave it. If it is going to be globes and maps and they have included this, they would have just mentioned and left it. If the topic itself is oceans and continents, then in detail, they'll talk about all the 7 continents. Okay, so based on that, you can carry on the lesson. You can take it forward and you can give some extra information, like when you're going to teach the topic, teach about all the continents, and then you can just ask them, which is the largest continent. So if they say it's fine, if not, you can ask them to see the map. Surely it will be in the reader, and ask them to see which is the biggest. Okay, that way he can infer it is Asia. And you can even say that where do we all live? In which continent are we living? Then you can give some facts about Asia, like it occupies 1/3 of the land area of the continent. Then you can talk about the smallest continent also. The smallest continent is Australia, which is also a country. So you can talk this. And you can show the map like this. Okay. After teaching everything, I mean, teaching about the oceans, the continents, everything. When we do a recap of that particular lesson, you can show this world map. If you have map in the reader, it's fine. If not, surely in your library, you will have world political map. Am I right? Surely it will be there. If not, you will have map book for children. Teachers, I need your response so that I can tell you this, what I'm planning to tell you. Do you all have a library with map?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Library we have, ma'am, for children's we provide.
No, for them only. Are you allowed to take maps to the classroom?
Yes.
You're allowed to take maps to the class. Then you take this. If you have provision to hang it, you hang it. If not, you ask 2 child to hold it. Okay, to his. Then you ask them to observe the map for 2-3 minutes. Now you also just look at it. Now you are all students and I'm just giving you this activity. You imagine to be an activity or a recap of what you're learning. Okay. Now just go through this for 2 minutes. Yes. Now, my first question is, name the continent with most number of countries or more countries. The continent.
Africa.
Yes, Africa. Now, the
Just Europe,
continent
ma'am.
with only one country.
Australia.
Australia.
Okay. Then, the continent without countries. I think you,
Antarctica.
Antarctica.
Antarctica. You can ask them why. Why there is no
Due to the
country there.
climatic situation.
Yes,
Situations
because
where we
it's very,
can't live.
very cold.
Cold.
You
Yes,
can even
cold.
ask a country which is on 2 continents, lying on 2 continents.
Russia.
Yes, it is also called as Eurasia. Yes, Russia. So this way you can just give a recap of the continents. And one more thing, teachers, when you teach continents map, please start off from the left to the right. Like you say, North America, South America, Europe, Asia, Africa, Australia, Antarctica. Don't go in a zigzag way. Always, whenever you repeat, you ask the child to mark, you follow a method either clockwise or anti-clockwise. That is not correct. So we'll always go this way, or you come like this. North America, Europe, Asia, Australia, Antarctica, then Africa you will leave. So I feel North, South, Europe, Asia, Africa, Australia, Antarctica. This method will be easy for children to learn and mark. So you can practice this way. And when you're going to mark, surely we won't give political map for children. 3, 4, 5, they don't do political map. They just have India outline. Even if they have political map, by chance in your school, you are providing them with political map, please don't ask them to mark any country in that, not necessary. For their level, it is enough if they mark only the 7 continents and the oceans. This particular information is just for knowledge, some extra knowledge about each continent. That's it. It's not for testing. And it's not correct also to test. Simply you can ask them like what I asked you all just now, observation. That's it. They should only know to mark the continents and of course the oceans. Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, Arctic and Antarctic. These are the 5 which they should know to mark. Again, you can say the Pacific is in both the sides. Why it is in both the sides? Because it is like this. Okay, it's round, it's on both the sides. So we mark Pacific Ocean on both the sides. It's okay if you mark either on the left or on the right. Okay, it's correct. So no need to mark both the sides. If you mark on both the sides, it's well and good. If you are not marking also, please don't say that it is wrong. The child can mark here or there. Then to remember Atlantic Ocean, you say it is between those 2 continents in the middle. This is Atlantic Ocean. Can you see my cursor? This is the Atlantic Ocean. And when you're talking about Indian Ocean, you can very well say it's named after our country. So mark it below India. Mark it below that. So Indian Ocean. Arctic Ocean is on top. Poles, near the poles. So you mark on top. Anywhere on top you mark, it is right. Arctic Ocean. Antarctic or Southern Ocean also some people call it. You can mark it down. So when we are talking about oceans and continents, we explain as per the content in the reader. Then we can show them the map. They can visualize it. Then the third stage to mark in their map books. Surely they should know, if the chapter is there, they should know to mark the oceans and continents. Is it clear till here? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I proceed to the next slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Now, after speaking oceans and continents, we are going to talk about latitudes and longitudes. See, this is the latitude. One which is on my left. Okay, what it is an imaginary line. An imaginary line, which is, see, you can see the lines. If you want, you can call it to the children as sleeping line. Drawn parallel to the equator. Parallel means like this, standing face to face. Okay, and these are all called parallels of latitudes. Surely this topic is only for class 5. They won't learn in class 4. So class 5, they will surely learn it. So latitudes, and you can very well say it's an imaginary line. We don't know. We have just drawn a line for calculation purposes to locate places. So the imaginary line, now this is the globe. You can draw a round on the board, draw one circle in the middle, one line in the middle. That is the equator. Why it is called equator? Because it divides the earth equally into 2 halves. That's the reason it is called as equator. Now, You always, you should tell the children, we teach this right from third. Whenever we draw or mark, whatever it is, the main condition for any map is the direction which they have to keep in their mind. Top is north, bottom is south, to the right is east, and to the left is west. So these are the main directions. So you can very well say that the first half is divided as northern hemisphere. The second half is divided as the southern hemisphere. Why it is called hemisphere? Hemi means it is half. Half, that's the meaning. So it is called as hemisphere. This is sphere, partly it is divided. So the top portion is north, which is northern hemisphere, and the bottom one is the south, which is southern hemisphere. Now we have drawn so many lines. We have a lot of latitudes, but it's not easy to remember all. So we have 5 major important latitudes to learn. Surely you will be knowing it is there in the reader content: equator, Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn,
North Pole,
Arctic
South
Circle, and Antarctic. Okay, these are the 5 with the degrees. Now then you have to tell him, so the places, what it is, how to remember it. Surely they won't get confused with Arctic and Antarctic, but they will get confused with Cancer and Capricorn. Okay, so you should tell him, you remember one hemisphere, one latitude. First you mark that, automatically the next one is Capricorn. Understood? Which hemisphere and other things. So you will be talking about the 5 latitudes. So when we are going to talk about latitude, you will define what is the latitude, how it is divided, why it is called equator. It's the longest latitude. That also you can give them the fact. And we have 5 important latitudes, and these are that. And it is marked in east, since it is rotating, it is in the east-west direction. And it starts from 0 degree to 90 degree. These are the things you will talk about a latitude. Now, when you're going to talk about a longitude, few call it as longitude, few call it as longitude. But longitude is what? This one. Here we should always remember that this is also an imaginary line, but they are semicircles. They meet at the poles. See the thing, the top one. For this, you can take a ball in the classroom. You can explain, you can show the top portion is north and the bottom portion is the south. And you can say the dotted lines, these are the imaginary lines, again, which is dividing them. This is called a meridian, and it's called as prime meridian because it's very important. But here you should tell the children, when we are marking this, we always mark with directions like 80 degree north or 120 degree east or west, whatever it is. Why do we mention the degree? I mean direction. Like 23.5 degree north, 23.5 degree south. Why do we mark the direction?
Because of the direction, we'll know which hemisphere it lies. Western side or the eastern side?
North or south? Yes,
North.
you're right. It's not only for knowing the hemisphere, but also to calculate the distance, to locate the place. Both are right. Okay, but when we talk about 180 degree, we should not mention the direction. You should not write east or west. Because 180 degree west and 100 degree east are in the same latitude. So that is your international date line. So you won't mention for these two the directions. So that you have to tell the children, we won't mark. That's why we have some fixed calculated degrees of only we teach children for 5 important latitudes with their degrees and directions, and longitude we talk from 0 to 180 degree. That's it. We never mention the directions for the children, but they should know the international date line. So that is why we don't mark the direction like 180 degree west and 100 degree east are in the same longitude. Then after teaching this latitude and longitude, you can talk about grid. What is grid?
The space between the two latitudes.
No, ma'am. No.
The crisscross of latitude.
Crisscross is square.
Yes, the meeting point of the latitude and longitude. This
Yes.
you can see in both you have grids. Yes,
Yes.
latitude also it's there, longitude also it's there. So that is called as grid. The meeting point, the crisscross of that is latitude, longitude. Then you can tell the difference between the latitude and the longitude. Okay. Minimum 3 differences you can say. You can ask the children to tell, or you can give it. So you can talk about the differences of latitude and longitude. You can give a notes on latitude and longitude, and all this based on the content in your reader. If they have explained about these two only, you're going to talk about it. If not, we'll stop with oceans and continents. Then comes the climatic zones of the earth. See, when you're going to talk about latitude and longitude, you have to talk about the zones of the earth. I mean, why it is divided into 3. Now, see the, for you it's looking like orange. Yes. For me it is orange, okay. So the center line is the equator. From there to Tropic of Cancer, and from center line to Tropic of, it should be Capricorn. Okay, it is equator. I mean the torrid zone, heat zone, the land from equator to this and equator to this is very, very hot. So in the classroom, when you're going to explain children, you can say, you take a candle, or you imagine a candle, like you can take a pen, you tell the child, assume it to be a candle. Okay, when you keep your finger here, how do you feel? How do you feel? Darshana ma'am, I cannot hear you.
I feel hot.
Hot.
Yes, it's very hot. So the latitude near, or the region near the equator is very, very hot. Now I just raised my finger here to the candle. Now this is candle, it's burning. Now when I keep it here, it's very hot. When I keep it here, how it will be?
Not too cold and not too hot.
Not
more
too
hot.
cold or not too
Medium.
hot.
I can
Yes,
manage to
medium,
keep
moderate.
it here for
Yes.
5 to 10 minutes. I can keep it here. So it's neither too hot nor too cold. Whereas
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
keeping it here,
Too cold. Ma'am.
Too
I
cold.
can never feel the heat of the
Heat
candle.
of the candle.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
can never feel
Too
it.
cold.
So in the class, you can, if you're going to talk about the climatic zones of the earth, you can use your chalk, you can use your duster, you can use your pen, anything, imagining it to be a candle, and then you can tell him. So you can say temperate means it's neither too hot nor too cold. So people living there will not feel the heat more in the medium weather. Frigid zone, it's very, very cold. It's fully cold. That's why it got the name frigid zone. Then map. What is a map?
a pictorial representation.
Yes, it's a drawing of the whole of the earth or part of it on a flat surface. Yes, on a flat surface such as paper. You take a globe and flatten it, it will become a map. Yes, he showed it in round shape. The same thing, if it is flattened, it becomes a map. Why do we need a map? Why can't we just leave it with a globe? Why do we need a map?
To understand the location of countries.
To locate the places.
Countries.
For easy locating of places.
Why you couldn't locate on a globe?
At a time, we can see all places throughout the world in the map.
So
See,
when we go and
location is possible on both the places. Only thing is, map gives a greater
Convenient.
detailed version of the earth in detail. Anything you want, you can go in detail. That's the reason we started using a map. Now, I'm sorry. 1 minute.
Similar to what Siri does
See,
on
I
her cell
have a video here to play. Could you hear it when I play?
Yes, ma'am.
yes,
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Similar to what Siri does on our cell phones now. Landmarks are important features on a map. They help us identify our surroundings or the area around us with familiar objects that stand out against the scenery. These landmarks help us to know where we are.
Was it clear or should I play again?
Clear, ma'am.
Yeah, clear, ma'am.
Similar to what Siri does on our cell phones now. Landmarks are important features on a map. They help us identify our surroundings or the area around us with familiar objects that stand out against the scenery. These landmarks help us to know where we are. Similar to what Siri does on our cell phones now.
1 minute. I should
Landmarks.
stop it. Now, we are going to talk about the language of a map. See, we simply say map. Okay, but how to learn it? How to understand it?
Using direction. In
Huh?
the map, first of all,
Symbols, certain.
directions.
Directions, symbols, signs, landmark.
Colors.
Now, why all this came into existence?
Why?
Why?
Everyone can understand it.
Yes. See, now I'm going abroad, okay.
My map is used to showing the physics.
Now, why a language is necessary for a map? That is my question.
Because
The reason
everyone can't read, ma'am. If they are talking means they can understand. Everyone can understand.
Hmm.
The main reason is we can't write, that is one common language needs to be used throughout the world, and it should be in the form of symbols, letters, signs. The reason is there will be no place on the map to write the whole thing.
Identify that this is the railway area, this is the water area. Like this is easy to identify the locations.
Yes, see, we travel abroad. We don't know the foreign language, okay. But I need to know where there is a mountain, what are all the tourist spots are there, what I could do. If at all I'm going to settle there, where I can. I need to know, I need to understand, okay. In order to make it universally comprehensible, that is to make everybody understand, the cartographers, they have come to an unanimous consent, means everyone, they decided that we will use these symbols, these colors for a map so that it is easy for everyone to understand. That's how it was followed. Whether any map, it can be certain basic things need to be followed. First is your direction. So any map, it can be a map, Sri Lanka or India or Tamil Nadu or Chennai, whatever it is, any map, direction, if you open it, the top should always denote north. Even if it's going to be a plan, your house plan or street plan, or even our school plan, when you just open it, the direction should be north. So when you know one direction, it is easy to make out all the other directions. Yes, the top is north, bottom is obviously south, and to the right is east, and to the left is west. So every map, this should be the first thing, they should follow the direction. Then scale. What is scale? See now, initially I told you, now I want to draw a map of our country. Okay, it's too big. How can I put it in a paper? So the size and distance between places on a map is shown by a scale. See, it's the ratio of the distance between two places on the map to the actual distance between two places on the ground. See, I have shown you with the scale. Like here, 1 inch is equal to 24,000 inches, that is 2,000 feet. Roughly, we are using a scale to draw a particular map. Based on the area which we are going to cover, we use a scale. And that scale needs to be mentioned in the map in one corner. Any map it can be. Even our house plan, a scale need to be mentioned. So this is important for easy calculation. To draw a map, we use a scale. Then comes the legend or key. This is what I said. Looking at the map, even those who cannot study, they can make out. They can make out what it is. This is the main thing for him to help, and that will be mentioned below. Key will be mentioned below for the symbols they have used. Here also I have a small video clipping.
Lines on maps show boundaries, streets, highways, railroad tracks, and more. Colors on maps can also represent what the area is covered in. For example, if there are forests, mountains, deserts, or ice. Most maps also include a legend or a key. A legend shows the meaning of the symbols and colors on a map. All these symbols help you understand where you are and guide you to where you want to go. The key is useful to help you identify what each symbol means. Keys or legends vary from map to map. Lines on maps show boundaries, streets, highways, railroad tracks, and more. Colors on maps can also represent what the area is covered in. For example, if there are forests, mountains, deserts, or ice. Most maps also include a legend or a key. A legend shows the meaning of the symbols and colors on a map. All these symbols help you understand where you are and guide you to where you want to go. The key is useful to help you identify what each symbol means. Keys or legends vary from map to map. Lines on maps show boundaries.
Okay. Now we just had a look about the symbols and the key. See, we have to tell children only few colors are to be followed while marking the map. That is also very important. When we are going to mark a plain, fertile land, we have to use only green. Okay. When we are going to mark a mountain, we have to use what color we have to use for mountain?
Brown.
Brown. When we are going to show the water bodies, river, lake, ocean. So we have to use only
Blue.
blue.
Blue color.
Deserts, we can use yellow or
Yellow.
orange. These are the specific colors to be used. You cannot mark India, you cannot write and shade it with blue. It is wrong. Okay, so to mark the cities, you can use pink, purple, peach, the colors which we are not using for plains, deserts, mountains, and rivers. So this you have to insist from the beginning when they are starting to color the map. So if they color wrong shade, just tell them it's wrong. We cannot use brown everywhere. Only when we are marking Himalayas, we can use. Okay, then you can talk about the plains. When we are going to mark northern plains, you can ask them to shade with green. Or you're going to mark forest area. We don't do normally, we don't mark forest and other things. We keep as simple as possible for primary. We only mark, that's what in states, capitals. Okay, that when I talk about the types, we will talk. Now you insist only on colors. Excuse me. You just say them that these are the colors used for these places. Like your plains, you have to use only green. Mountains, brown. Water, it can be a river or lake or sea or pond, whatever it is, you can use blue. And for deserts, you can use yellow. These are the colors which we have to use on a map. Then the types of maps. Why do we need different types of maps? Or what are the different types of the maps? First we'll go that and then we'll talk why.
Political map.
Physical map. Physical map.
Map and political map.
Okay, physical map, political map, and thematic map. What is a physical map?
It show mountain, rivers, landforms.
Yes, it shows all the physical features of mountains, seas, rivers, lakes, forests, and farms. Okay, they are the physical map. See, you can see the physical map and the colors used in that. Yes, we have plain region, we have mountain region, we have desert region, I mean, which are plateau, not very fertile. Okay. Then comes your political map. Political map here, we only show countries, capital cities, and other important places. We don't show nothing much after that. So I have taken our country map and the states and capitals are there. Then comes your thematic map. From the name itself, it is explanatory. So what do you understand by the word theme?
It helps to find the location.
By countries.
It shows about the roadways, can be railways, airways, or it can
Talking
also
about a particular theme, particular topic.
sanctuaries.
It can be, you can prepare a map on any topic.
Geography, area, temperature.
That's what climatic conditions, heavy rainfall regions, industries, major crops grown, where we have more wheat, where we have rice. Yes, we can have forest, anything, any topic, whatever you want, you can have a map. Okay, that's why it's called as thematic maps based on a particular theme, based on a particular topic. So it's called as thematic maps. Now all these maps put together has one name. What it is?
this world map?
A book of maps is called what?
Atlas.
Atlas. Yes. You can tell them these different maps can be put together in a book called Atlas.
Atlas.
Yes. Now, after talking about maps, you can ask them to tell the difference between a globe and a map. Yes.
Yes.
You can ask them to tell the difference between a globe and a map. What are all the difference it can be?
Map is a flat one. Globe
Yes.
is a sphere.
Yes, very good. It's a spherical in shape. It is flat in
Flat
shape.
in shape. We can easily carry map.
Yes, carry
wherever
map,
we go.
whereas it's difficult to carry globe.
Yeah, globe.
Before that, we need to tell one more important point.
Details can be seen on the map, but
See, the
details will not be
Earth, the exact shape of Earth can be seen on a globe, but here it doesn't show the exact shape because it's flattened.
Two-dimensional.
In the map. Then a world doesn't have a lot of details in it, whereas map has a lot of details. These are the major differences which you can tell children about a map and a globe. If you have a globe in your library, you can very well take it. You can have a globe. Adjacent to that, you can have the map, what you're going to show them, and ask them to identify the differences. So that will be more easier for him to understand it. Now, how to mark maps? This was the topic which was asked. Okay, now how to mark a map? There are many ways to mark map. First thing, you can ask them to mark directly there by writing the left-hand side what I have done. Yes, I have chosen few because if it is overcrowded everywhere, it won't be easy for you all to understand. So I have written like this. So I've just taken one lake or a state capital and then it is marked. Now, the right hand side, I've just given numbers for the northeastern states. So you can either ask the child to just write the number and write down the key as mentioned below. Okay, the number can be based on the question paper if it is in the question paper. If it is in the classwork, whatever you have given, like for example, you have given Mizoram as number 1. The place where he should mark Mizoram should be number 1. He cannot use number what he feels like. The number what we are going to give should be marked there. Then only he will have a clarity of what he is marking. Okay, now simply you have given it as mark the following states and you have given. The child himself can choose a number and he can write the key based on his number. That is also correct. So you can teach him, either you keep a dot and mark it there, or keep a dot, draw a line. Okay, and then you can mark it there, but it should come from inside the place, inside that particular state. Then when we are marking the capital, we need to keep a dot. We need to keep a dot that will only distinguish it that it's the state and that is the capital. The dot denotes the capital. Okay. Then please don't teach all the states and capitals for all the classes. You can restrict. If he is in class 4 and 5, you can go to the northeastern states because this is little complicated. Okay, and as far as possible, you can teach map based on their lesson. If he is going to learn about Gujarat or Gandhinagar, or he is learning about Maharashtra, Mumbai, like that, specifically, if it is related to the lesson, you can give that particular thing in map. And you can split the maps. For example, now this also I have to mark, this also I have to mark. Here also I have to mark. Means make it as 2 maps so that he will first understand it. Testing you can give whatever you want. Then to remember, you can tell him. You can remember the states in one particular sequence as you like. Okay. From down, you can ask him to remember the states, the southern states. Okay, like you can say Tamil Nadu, on top of it, it is Andhra, then Orissa, West Bengal. Stop with it. So you can divide one map like that. Then Kerala, Karnataka, Mumbai, Gujarat. Stop with it. So you can give 8 in one map. Ask them to mark the capitals of that. Then you can go to the top portion. You can split and teach so that everything given in one map, he'll feel very, what should I say? First it will be scary to by heart everything. Then it's not necessary also for him to know everything. Whatever is needed in that particular class, he will learn. So from 3rd to 5th, he will learn almost all the states and capitals. Agree?
Yes,
Is it
ma'am.
okay,
Yes,
teacher?
ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Instead of giving everything at a time and facing indigestion, I feel this way is better. We can divide it into 3 and then give the map. So he can learn. And testing, of course, you can give. Testing, you can just ask everyone to take a map and orally you can ask him to mark Tamil Nadu or you can ask him to mark Chennai or whatever you want. Even you can indirectly ask also. Map testing could be done indirectly also. Like you can just, if you want to give Mumbai, you can say the capital of Maharashtra or you can say the state between this and that. Anyway, you can test. You can test directly or you can test indirectly. It is up to you how you're going to test it. Then comes the physical features. Physical features, don't expect the child to do exactly what is there. Slightly there will be deviation because he's observing and drawing. So you can just tell him from this part, just draw a feeble line to the end. Okay, to the end. So that will be the mountains, Himalayas. Just tell him. And the coastal plains, the starting and the ending point, the child should know. So you tell him, this is the starting place wherein you have to draw. If possible, the bottom portion alone you can draw on the board. I think that is easy rather than drawing the top one. Bottom portion you can draw and you say that this from this tip to the right is the coastal plain. And the V shape is our Deccan Plateau. See, I have chosen the basic places what is frequently asked. Am I right? All this we are marking in 3, 4, 5 category. So that's what I have taken. So you can, then why I have used colors here itself, because it's only simple. I have taken a plain, a desert, a mountain and a plateau. So I need not use a key. You can tell them. It is not necessary that everywhere we have to use key. That also they should know. Wherever possible only we can use key. It's not that I have drawn there, I will put a box and I will write. When I will write, when I'm not writing eastern coastal plain and western coastal plain, when I'm not mentioning this with the arrow, I will write a box with blue lines like this, but that is not necessary. Okay, so when we have place here to write, we need not use a key. That also you can tell them. So when it is necessary only, we write a key. Now, for example, when we talk about the grasslands, when we talk about the climatic conditions, when we talk about the desert regions of the world, okay, when we talk about the temperate grasslands of the world, That time what we do, we just draw all the grasslands of all the continents. We draw the shapes, we shade it with green if it is a grassland, and we just put a box and write temperate grasslands of the world, like the desert regions of the world, because it's going to be everywhere. It's going to be, if you want, you can even mention their prairies, pampas, all that you can mention there. But this method also can be followed instead of mentioning each grassland. But here, there itself we are writing, so we need not write the key. But if we say, you say if you are writing there, don't write the key. If you are writing the key, it's not necessary. But we need to write because we are distinguishing eastern coastal plain and western coastal plain. So he has to mention it there only. To remember this, mostly the children will get confused writing eastern and western. They'll obviously write opposite only. So first you tell him, whenever you take a map, just draw the direction on top with a plus. Right, north, south, east, west. So when you mark the coastal plains, look at the top. So if it is east, to the right, you write eastern coastal plain. Okay, if it is left hand side, then you write western coastal plain. You won't make a mistake. You won't go wrong in that. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I forgot the teacher who asked me about math. Is she here today? So I think this is how we teach math. Any other method you follow, you can just tell me.
For the third standard, no ma'am, in activity, I used to make from the cardboard, I used to make an enlarged printout, take a printout of the countries, cut it in the cardboard, stick it, and like a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah.
So that used to make it interesting for the third standard, especially to learn the state's position.
Shape. Yes, to know where it is.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you have it as classroom activity. You ask them to come and arrange it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you know? I think before that, anything else? Any clarity needed for marking the maps?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Just how we got the word map. This